Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Good afternoon. We're here this afternoon and we're filming this at the Delta County Library because we needed to try to coordinate schedules between us and Mr. Maharris here. We have Mr. Maharris, Scott Maharris, as our podcast representative today. He is our county commissioner, or a county commissioner for Montrose County. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you very much, Ruth.
And please give us a little bit of your background before we actually start out the podcast. A little bit of your background and why you're here, why you came to this, and
what caused you to run in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. What caused you to run in the first place?
Because you haven't been on very long, as far as I understand.
No, and I haven't. And I'll give you the kind of condensed version.
Okay.
I was born in Rahway, New Jersey in 1960. At 10 years old, my family uprooted and moved down to Florida. And I am the oldest of three children. I grew up in Hollywood, Florida, graduated from Hollywood Hills, went to college in Tampa at the University of South Florida. From there, I worked for Anheuser-Busch as a promotions person, and then I quickly went into the securities business. Worked in that industry for quite a while, and then in 1999, moved to Hawaii. It was my dream. I've been a lifelong surfer and waterman, lifeguard, fisherman, sailor. Went to Hawaii with our children. Our youngest was born in Kauai, Hawaii, and after 20 years in Hawaii, she decided she wanted to go to college at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Since it was our youngest and our family, our parents were getting older, we thought we had a good stint in Hawaii. We loved Hawaii, and but we needed to be closer to family. So we started investigating Colorado, and being someone who really enjoyed rural, America, even Hawaii, we settled on the western slope. We originally went to Ridgeway, and then we found that we spent more time in Montrose, and we really liked it.
Right.
We then, I had a business, my wife and I started in Hawaii for 20 years, making vintage wooden postcards, and we sold them all nationally. We sold the business, and then we purchased the third oldest building in Montrose, the old Lathrop Hardware, and we renovated the entire building. It's a historic building, and we turned it into a Colorado whiskey bar. So we only sell Colorado whiskeys that are distilled here in Colorado, and Colorado's a great place to make whiskey, and it's giving Kentucky and Tennessee a run for it. So,
right.
we've always believed, in promoting and supporting local businesses and local products, and I think that's a trend that people are getting more akin to right now. So we're happy and proud to be doing that. We don't drink whiskey; we just make it a nice place, and we designed this historic building in a way that any native Coloradan would be proud of. So we're really proud of that. The people that come in are just tickled to death the way we've designed it and the way we've decorated it to honor Western Colorado.
Nice.
And by the way, I forgot to tell you that we did live in Colorado in the 80s. We came from Florida. We moved out here, and then after 3 or 4 years, we went back to Florida for personal reasons. We had some family things that went on. So it's not like we're brand new to Colorado.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
So then what made you run for office?
Well, when we opened up the whiskey bar, we immediately started getting a lot of people come in, and at that time, the Central Committee chairman asked me if I would host a social hour once a month for Colorado Republicans. And being a lifelong conservative and Republican, I said absolutely. I saw what was going on, and I said we needed a place for people to meet and exchange ideas and build a core to protect our community. So after 3 years, actually it was 2 years, county commissioner seat came up. And the Central Committee wasn't really happy with the candidate that had been selected by the previous board and the kind of institution, called Montrose Institution. So I ran, and we had a primary, and I won the primary. And then after July, there was nobody signed on to be an unaffiliated candidate, so I became the commissioner-elect from July. And I was just in waiting until the election.
Right.
And so after the election, I wound up getting more support and more votes than anybody ever in the history of Montrose County. 18,159 people cast
my
their
goodness.
votes.
Wow.
And
That's a record.
yeah, it is a record. And even though it was, I was unaffiliated, people say, well, no one ran against you. I said, but people still had to fill in that bubble. They felt like they wanted to fill in that bubble.
Right.
So I feel pretty proud of that, and I feel like my views and my vision for Montrose is kind of in line with what the majority of the Montrose citizens would like to see as we grow and develop.
Okay, keeping it grassroots.
Yes, very, very local. I came to Western Colorado to be Western Colorado. And a lot of people say, oh, you're not born here, or we've been here for generations. It's like, tell me what I need to do to help to preserve the heritage that you and your family built here. And
Right.
that's what I want to do.
Just because you are an outsider, quote unquote, doesn't mean you care any less.
No, in fact, sometimes you care more.
Right.
Yeah,
You see the
You
problems.
see what you have too.
Yes.
You see what you want to protect.
exactly.
So you got elected, and how long did it take before you started running into controversy or opposition to your position and your ideas? So go
Now,
ahead.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking it. After July passed, almost immediately, I was told that I was going to be recalled. There was a small group of people that were very upset that their chosen candidate did not get elected. And they told me 6 months and a day, I will be recalled. I hadn't said anything, done anything as a county commissioner at all. I was pretty much well vetted. You know, any dirt they could possibly find on me, they put it out there to beat me in the primary, and it still fell on deaf ears. So I started running into opposition immediately.
wow.
And that's what we kind of understood from another podcast, Better Together. They had the two ladies that they said started the whole thing in a kitchen to recall you, and they were saying how it was bipartisan and that they were able to do this recall in 5 weeks, get enough signatures on the petition. But it doesn't sound like maybe that's exactly how that happened. And when you listen to the other podcast, what I think Ruth took out of it was their biggest complaint was they didn't think you were very nice to the people that worked in the county. I mean, it didn't sound like there was any concrete accusations that they were making.
Yeah, nothing you could ground. Nothing.
Yes, yes.
Well, what I found in politics, when I say or do something that you don't agree with, I become not very nice.
Right.
Aha.
It's just the way it works.
Just the way it works.
Right, you know? And we have a county to run, and like any small county, money is tight, people need to be accountable, and we need to try to do better. And in a small county, you often have people that are there that have been there for a while. Maybe they're not as qualified as they should be, but they're there because they were there. And when you try to help them be better, you'll run into obstacles. I had no communication with any of our staff. My reputation amongst the county staff was really harmed by other people that worked for the county that weren't happy that I was there, the establishment that wasn't happy. One of the things that really become contentious was on the day that I won the primary election, the existing county manager, John Washbush, announced his resignation. He resigned August 7th of 2024. That led to a search for a new county manager. We had a lot of candidates. I, as well as the other two candidates, objected to them hiring a new county manager without the input of the new board, because out of 3 people, we were going to have 2 new people on the board.
Right.
They knew I was going to be one of them, and then Tricia Murray and Rick Dunlap were the other 2. They weren't certain of that. But Tricia and Rick were objectionable, and they voiced their objections, just like I did. The county went on to hire a county manager. His name was Frank Rodriguez. When I got sworn in, that was in January 14th. By April 15th, when he left the county, he had been in my office 3 times. His office was maybe 20 feet from mine. He had called me. I looked on my phone. He called me 16 times. 16 conversations. What people need to understand, though, is that the Board of County Commissioners hire 2 people in the organization, the county manager and the county attorney. That is it. That person needs to have and share the vision that the county commissioners have for the county.
Exactly.
And he's there or she's there to serve the board, not one individual county commissioner.
Exactly.
And what was happening was Mr. Rodriguez was serving one commissioner, Commissioner Sue Hansen. When Rick and I were there, being new, we thought this is the way it was supposed to work. And as time went on, I figured out that that's not the way it's supposed to work. And then unfortunately, I think in February, maybe 10th or 8th, Rick passed away, opening up a vacancy where the Republican Central Committee had an obligation to fill that vacancy within 10 days. That's state statute.
Right.
They selected on Sean Pond out of the West End. Sean is a 5th-generation Coloradan. He was very vocal about the Save the Dolores monument that they were trying to pass, the Biden administration wanted to pass by using the Antiquities Act. And Sean put on a really good argument on why that shouldn't happen. And in the end, the people of Western Colorado, and I think a lot of Colorado, agreed with him. The political pressure became very hard for the Biden administration. That was just one of his problems.
Right.
And he didn't sign it. And when the Trump administration came in November of 24, all of a sudden the Dolores Monument was no longer a reality. And then the liberal people in Montrose County started focusing more on a NCA, a National Conservation Area.
Right.
So Sean got into the role as County Commissioner for District 3, and he immediately saw that this relationship with our county manager and our assistant manager and even our county attorney was skewed well away from us. They weren't there to serve the Board of County Commissioners. They were there to share one person's vision, which wasn't necessarily our vision, and maybe that explains why so many voters cast a ballot for me. And to me, that's what elections are all about.
It is.
It's the only time the public has a chance to make a choice. And my vision was very clear. I wanted to support our public safety, our sheriff. I wanted to bring more accountability to our county government. I wanted efficiencies to improve because money's getting tight. And I wanted to protect our open lands.
Right.
And I think you said also transparency.
Transparency,
Yes,
that goes along with accountability.
Okay.
Transparency and accountability. So my vision was very clear. The voters understood what I stood for, and they cast their ballots accordingly. So the mandate was there, but we weren't able to execute the mandate. So in my mind, the voters weren't being listened to. Their desires were not being taken in. Sean saw this also. We had several conversations with our county manager at the time. It just wasn't getting anywhere. And one meeting, I just off the cuff said, you know, Frank, I was thinking of asking you for your resignation. He said, you'll have it by the end of the day. He was ready to go. He was in way over his head. He didn't have the experience or training to do this. So that was it. He offered his resignation, but it takes 2 board members to accept it.
Right.
So it wasn't like he got fired. He did not get fired. He offered his resignation and it was accepted. After he offered his resignation, we hadn't even accepted it yet. I went into our county attorney's office, which I had some difficulties with Marty. And I said, Marty, Frank just offers his resignation. Is your offer still good? Now you might be wondering, what was her offer? Well, there was 2 times at least that she told me, she goes, Scott, I'm not happy here. I used to enjoy my job, but I don't enjoy it anymore. And I knew I probably was part of the problem. She says, all you have to do is ask me for my resignation and I will leave. And I said, okay. So, never did. I said, Marty, you're going to have to stick it out here with me for a while. And that day that Frank said he was going to be preparing his resignation, I went into Marty and told her, and she said, you'll have mine by lunch. And she walked out the door. Never seen her since.
Really?
And I never seen
Interesting.
Frank since. So I think they were ready to leave. They were unhappy. And, you know, I wish them all the best. Okay? But we have a county to run, and we have residents and citizens and voters that we're accountable to. It's the only time you have the accountability is at the ballot box. So then we searched for a county manager. But an odd thing happened. Once that happened, we started to see some of the people inside the county started to cause turmoil. They started making up stories. Oh, you caused Frank to be fired. You did this, you did that.
Ah, the grapevine. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it became, it became kind of difficult.
Right.
We had a county manager, interim county manager, our human resources director, and she was asked to be county manager temporary while we look for a position and look for a replacement. And she just couldn't handle it. One instance in particular was Road and Bridge came to me and they said, we have some problems at Road and Bridge. Our staff isn't happy and I'm afraid we're going to lose 5 people. Since they were already well understaffed, I went to the human resources director, which was Leslie Kwan, who was also our interim county manager, and I said, Leslie, we've got to do something about this. And she says, well, what do you propose? And there was a Road and Bridge foreman there in the meeting with us. And I was like, well, we gotta meet with these folks and find out what their complaints are and see if we can fix it. She says, I don't want to meet with them. I said, why not? She goes, they don't trust me. And I said, well, why not? She says, I don't know. When the foreman was here, he wasn't really talking because he was worried about, you know, the human resource director has a lot of power, right?
Right.
But I said, well, Leslie, why don't you come with me and we'll fix it. You'll come with me and we'll rebuild that trust. She says, no, I don't want to go. So this was kind of a subordinate saying, I'm not going. She basically refused. So I went and had the meeting anyway. And after the meeting, I got a phone call from Leslie Kwan, and she started telling me I should have never had that meeting. And I said, why not? She says, well, that's the county manager's job. And I said, but you're the county manager.
And she refused the
And
position.
she refused to go. And she says, well, you should. I said, Leslie, if 5 people walked out of Road and Bridge, it would not be good for the department. It would be terrible. We need Road and Bridge people.
I would think that would reflect on her as well.
You would think. So she says, well, you still shouldn't have done it. I said, well, Leslie, if it's your responsibility and 5 people walked out, who do you think is going to be responsible for that? Well, she saw that as a threat. And I'm like, it's not a threat. It's just a fact. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you rebuild trust. And I'm trying to help you do your job better. You're human resources and you're the county manager. And then she writes a letter saying that I created a hostile environment.
Oh, that's where
where
that
it came
came
from.
That's where
Okay.
that came from. When actually the hostile environment was created by her and I was trying to fix it. Interesting. So that's where it came from with her. So I never said a word to her since. But this is the type of thing that hurts an organization. When you have someone of that authority, interim county manager and also human resources director, making a public statement, and actually it wasn't public, it was actually an inter-office memo, but someone tipped off the press to run a Colorado Open Records request for her email. It happened within hours of her submitting that letter. This is the kind of incestuous stuff that takes place inside a organization that's trying to protect themselves.
Sounds like a good old boy system to me.
It could be. In my opinion, as I've watched this, I see incompetence. And when you have incompetence, that leads to cover up. You want to cover up your incompetency. But when someone like me, an outsider, comes in, who doesn't have any relations with anybody, my family didn't grow up here, I don't have any business here that depends on the county, and I start asking questions, that cover-up increases. Sometimes it increases to the level of corruption. And I think that's where a lot of counties evolve to, is corruption on account of trying to cover up. Oftentimes, the cover-up is worse than the crime. So that's kind of where we're at.
And I know another thing, that when I was looking through the petition that Montrose Republicans were saying, this is what they've said, this is the fact, where does you were meeting with, you avoided the open records, or
Yeah.
you were meeting with another commissioner and you shouldn't have been?
Shouldn't have been,
Where
yeah.
did that occur? Was that with Frank Rodriguez? So you were walking by?
Yeah,
or?
no. So Sean Pond lives on the West End.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't even come in the office that much. And quite honestly, I don't go in the office that much either. I don't go in my office because some things I've said in my office have gone out of my office, and I don't know how.
Ah.
So I'm careful of being in my office. I'm very uncomfortable in there. But you didn't have to meet with Sean Pond. We knew where we stood. We were both being treated the same way. There was no need for a meeting. It was evident what was going on. In fact, even before he came in, when he put his name in the hat, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I said, "This is tough. I'm fighting against the current here," and he didn't believe me. And when he got sworn in and he sat down in his office, in came Commissioner Hanson, Frank Rodriguez, Emily Sanchez, and there might have been one other person. And they closed the door and had a meeting with him. And after that, he came by my office and he says, "Why do they hate you so much?" They were trying to really sabotage.
They're trying to turn the tide right there.
Trying to turn the tide right there. And it was at that point that he said, what is going on here? So you didn't have to have a meeting. They're the ones that had the meeting.
Interesting.
It was Sue Hanson in his office that was having a meeting.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
because there's two county commissioners
You bet.
sitting together.
And the county
And making
managers,
decisions, yeah.
So.
Without you.
I don't know if they were making decisions, but they were definitely trying to undermine.
They were persuading.
Yeah.
But that still should have been
Yes.
open, right?
Should have been open.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. Oftentimes, the people who are accusing you of doing something are doing it themselves.
Yes,
We see that over and over
Over
again.
again,
Right?
yes.
Well, another thing that they accused you of, and we did, just so you know, we did watch the TV interview where you said at the county commission meeting, and Sue Hanson was there and Sean was there. That was very interesting. You went through all of the charges that they have on the recall ballot. So maybe you could go through that with us a little bit and say how this recall has evolved as far as who's funding it, who's behind it, and what do you think the intent is? What are they trying to accomplish?
Right. Well, they like to play this video clip of me saying, "I'm the chairman of the board, I run the meeting." And anybody who knows anything about running a meeting, we abide by Robert's Rules of Order.
Absolutely.
And the chairman of the board runs the meeting. And when we have a participant, a citizen in the gallery telling the chair he can only speak for 3 minutes or she can only speak for 3 minutes, that's not being mean. That's saying, "I'm the chair, I run this meeting, I'm not limited to 3 minutes, I'm sorry."
I thought it was the outsiders that were limited, not the people on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, if one of our commissioners wanted to speak for 10, 15 minutes, if they wanted to read the Bible, that'd be fine by me. It's the Board of County Commissioners meeting.
Right.
We invite the public in to participate. We appreciate the public support and the participation of the public. But in the end, any meeting, whether it's a chairman of the Board of County Commissioners or it's a homeowners association meeting, someone runs the meeting.
Exactly.
And so when that person said I only get 3 minutes, I had to correct them. Maybe they didn't like the fact that they were being corrected, but they did. And then our attorney said, "Well, you should only, you're giving testimony." I said, "No, I'm responding to what was said, and I think the public needs to hear this." In my opinion, that wasn't the role of the attorney. In the public
Yes.
meeting.
I have to agree with you.
We've since mended our ways and we're fine, but I'm just saying, The chairman of the board runs the meeting, and the chairman of the board graciously offers the other board members whatever opportunity they'd like to have to speak, and they often do. And if you watch the meetings, you'll
We
notice
watched it. Sue had her
Absolutely.
her say, and Sean declined.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't ever interrupt her. I don't ever cut her off. She has the ability to talk as much as she wants, and if I feel the need to, I will respond, and vice versa. I think that's good dialogue. I think that the public deserves to see how the commissioners interact amongst each other.
It's true.
And I thought it was a productive conversation. It just didn't end the way some of the people who don't like me wanted it to
Wanted
end.
it to end. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you asked about how did it evolve, you know. So this all started on 6 months in a day, which is state statute. I have to be sworn in for 6 months in a day, and it started immediately. They produced a whole bunch of volunteers, and these are just people that feel disaffected or not represented. They're the people that just didn't like the fact that I was there, and that's the nature of politics, right? So they started this petition drive, and they pestered so many residents. They were out in front of the recreational center, which is taxpayer funded. They were at music events that are taxpayer funded. They were in front of where we were doing a health drive, where people were signing up to get the blood pressure taken and health examinations on our health day. They were in restaurants. They went to a friend of mine's restaurant, didn't ask permission, went in and started talking to people who were trying to have a meal. And when he found out about it, he had to kick them out. They were everywhere. Some people in downtown district got knocked on, their door got knocked on by 3 different people. Roger Rash, a former county commissioner, knocked on my own home door. He didn't even know where I lived. I got him on the Ring camera, trying to get me to answer the door to sign my own petition. They really worked hard. In the end, they got over 5,000 names. Many of them were, they were not allowed. They didn't qualify. The number got down to about 49 or 4,800. They had made it by about 400 and some signatures. That list of petition signatures, by the way, they took their signatures and they posed for pictures out in front of the elections office. They were so proud of themselves. And then that becomes a public record. So the county clerk sent it to me and sent it to other people. And I had a website, and I put the names up on my website. The day later, I get a call from a fellow that says, "Hey, I'm on the list, and I'm fearful that there's going to be retaliation. Would you take my name off the list?" I said, "Absolutely." Then he said, "Well, everybody's address is on there. Maybe you should take them off." And I said, "Okay, I'll think about that." And I thought about it, and I redacted the whole list. All it has is the names. But then other people looked at the list and they said, "Hey, Ruth, why did you sign the petition?" And Ruth said, "I didn't know I signed the petition. I didn't know what I was signing."
Didn't know what you were signing.
So we're finding out by publishing the list that a lot of people that signed that petition had no idea what they were signing. One lady on the West End thought she was signing a wolf petition to prevent the wolf from coming to Colorado. Now, by state statute, they're supposed to have that general statement of what their accusations are. And
Absolutely.
You're supposed to see what the accusations are, and you're supposed to see the elected's response to those accusations. And after that, then you should sign it. Now, you don't have to read that, but you should be offered it.
Yes.
And I had gone and seen a petition drive at some event, and I watched them. I didn't see anybody. In fact, they put extra pages on top. And I never saw people saying, here's the accusations. This is why we don't want this commissioner recalled. I never saw that. I don't think they used good practices. I think they were very unethical.
Well, I think, in petition signing, so many of the times people know that if there's a petition to be signed, it's something that they probably ought to put their name on to make sure that everything's up and up, and never ask questions. And that is up to the public. As far as I'm concerned, that's them.
Yeah, it is up to the public, but and it's a fine line, but you should offer.
You should offer,
You
yes.
should offer, anyway, so they did get the signatures, and that I had about 10 days to protest. I decided not to protest. This was something that the people needed to decide. I could have went legally and done all that sort of thing, but I didn't do that. Not to say that I have very deep concerns on whether they actually got the number of signatures
Right.
that was required. But this is on the ballot, like it or not, it's on the ballot, and a lot of people are, talking about it. One of the more interesting things about this race is this, though. If you go to Tracer, and Tracer is the Secretary of State's site, and we're all required to do campaign finance reports where we have to disclose the people that made donations to us, and then we have to disclose what our expenditures are.
Right.
So I did mine, and I'm fortunate enough to be supported by enough people where I was shocked. I didn't even ask for donations. People just called me up and said, "Can I help?"
Nice.
Then on the 21st of August, when the big one was, the big report was due, I checked into it, and so did other people. And surprisingly enough, the Recall Scott Mijares campaign has received to date, I think over $35,000. But when you start looking at who the contributors are, you start to go, wow.
What is
epic.
this?
So I made a list, and I found out that the Recall Scott Mijares campaign has been funded in great part by Colorado Rural Voters. Colorado Rural Voters is based out of Billings, Montana. They do have a mailbox or a post office box in Grand Junction, but their home offices, their physical address is in Billings, Montana. But Colorado Rural Voters is funded by Western Colorado Alliance, which is a well-known progressive group.
In Grand Junction?
And
Yes.
they're in Grand Junction. And Western Colorado Alliance is funded by the Organization of Resource Council, which is also in Billings. And then they're funded by Neo-Philanthropy out of New York.
A
And
little far away from
a little far away from Montrose.
Yeah.
And then Neo-Philanthropy is funded by the Open Society Foundation. Does that name sound familiar
That
to you?
sounds very
It does.
familiar, yes.
So George Soros is well known for funding many different organizations, but one of them he's definitely connected to is the Open Society Foundation.
Yes.
So the funding for this whole recall thing, this isn't local anymore.
No.
This is a national thing. And if you remember, I know you ladies do remember, that George Soros has been extremely active in replacing all of our district attorneys in some of our largest cities.
Absolutely.
This is the reason why people who are accused of violent crimes go out on bail and we're never to be seen again, or go on to commit other crimes. He has been really bad for America. And they put a lot of attention towards these district attorneys and even judges. Now they're focusing on county commissioners. They'll even go down as low as city council people in larger cities.
Yes.
Yes.
we
We've seen
understand
that.
that.
This is what we're fighting against. And people don't understand that their government and the things that dictate to the way they live and the safety of their community is being stolen away. It's being purchased
Right.
by billionaires that don't even reside in Colorado.
And don't have to tell the truth about what has happened, and there's no way to get it out to enough people to really make a difference. It used to be if you had one TV station and one newspaper that at least you knew everybody was participating in that, but now it's all over the place.
Now there's another billionaire associated with this. Have you heard the name Hans-Georg Weiss? Hans-Georg Weiss.
I believe so.
He's out of Wyoming. You can look him up. He's a Swiss billionaire. I think he made his money in chemicals or something like that. He lives in Wyoming. He donates a lot of money to progressive agendas. A lot of these people, they get their heart is in trying to save the planet. They're against oil and gas. They're against a lot of things that built Colorado, built our country for that matter. And they come in from out of the country. George Soros is not, American citizen. Neither is Hans Georg. And they're influenced with money, And that's not the way a democracy works.
A Green Agenda, ICLEI, all of those are falling in place just right down the line. So you can see where it's starting to tie in.
It all ties in. And what people need to understand is that Colorado was built on mining, oil and gas,
Exactly.
exploration. We have
Agriculture.
agriculture, yes, ranching. We have the 8th largest supply of natural gas in the entire nation. But yet, our state is going to be facing close to a $2 billion budget deficit.
Yeah.
Most of this budget deficit can be traced back to the fact that we don't collect severance tax anymore, right? Every dollar that's collected in natural gas, 87 cents goes to tax.
Well,
We're not getting that anymore.
Wow.
So we have big issues. Thankfully, the Trump administration and the Secretary of the Interior, the Energy Secretary is from Colorado. We're starting to make some headway, and that's why this gubernatorial race is so important.
It is.
We need someone who's going to step in and save Colorado. It's going to save some of these liberals from themselves. You know, they have to realize that we don't have a bright future if we don't change course.
Be careful of what you ask for.
Yeah, and so that's why even at a county commissioner level, people sometimes accuse me or even my fellow commissioner Sean Pond that, oh, you're out of your lane. We're here to save Colorado. We're here to make a difference for Montrose County because it'll all trickle down to our citizens eventually.
Exactly.
And so we can't sit back. We can't be quiet. We have to think big. We have to take advantage of that. We have an administration now that really wants to make America great again. And we want to be the leaders of the world. And so...
and you do it unapologetically.
I do
It's
it-
not that, I want to make the world great again. I want to make America great again. I'm sorry.
No, I don't whisper. In fact, that was one of my campaign things. I used to say in my campaign, I said, I think Donald Trump is going to win the presidency, and I want to be there to support him in his Make America Great agenda. That was one of my promises and one of my pledges to the people of Colorado and people of Montrose.
And they were conservative enough to elect you in the first place.
And it's not to say that I agree with everything that Donald Trump does or I agree with everything
Anybody
Nor-
does.
Nor should you.
I'm a free thinker, and I've always said I'm a convince me guy. Convince me that, you know, you're right or I'm wrong. I'm open. But you got to convince me. You
Right.
have to come forth with believable facts, verifiable facts.
Verifiable facts.
And so, really quick, as we're kind of wrapping up, unless there's more you want to talk about, let's go through the accusations. What are actually the facts, or you know, if they have any proof that they can go to for any of the things that they've said about you? Because so far, I haven't heard any evidence. I've heard accusations.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember them. I didn't bring my notes, but the first thing they said was we had secret meetings. And I've
Yes.
already went over that. There was no
Yes.
need for secret meetings. We were
Yes.
both being equally abused.
Yeah,
Right.
equal opportunity.
We didn't have to talk about it, you
Yes.
know. The second thing they said is I cost the county a bunch of money by asking
Yes.
for a delay on the North Campus. There's no almost. I presented a motion to put a 45-day pause on the North Campus so we could take a look at it. Most of the reason why I did that is because I was very suspicious as the way it got voted into on December 18th, just 26 days before the previous board went out. I have come to find out, I think I know why they did that, and that's because almost 20 months before then, that board had signed a first right of refusal to an outside developer, out-of-state developer, to sell the building that our county employees were currently working in.
Working in.
And that first right of refusal expires in 2027. So there was a clock we had to beat. They were afraid that wasn't going to go through. I don't know what the implications of that are. It sounds fishy to me. But the bottom line is, I made the motion. It never received a second.
So they're moving ahead.
How could it have possibly cost anybody any money?
Yes.
Right? It
Yeah,
didn't.
it couldn't. It's impossible.
So it didn't cost the county any money. So that's item number 2. Item number 3 was I fired the public health director. His name was Mirza Ahmed. Very nice guy. Very happy with what he's doing for Montrose County on the public health side. He's a very dedicated person. But we were new, and this vetting process, this selection process was initiated by our previous county manager. I had nothing to do with the interview process or anything. He was put before the board one day for a vote. Our county manager got up and spoke about him in very glamorous terms. And it went to a vote. And Sean and I looked at each other and were like, okay, if you did the research, great. It was almost, before I even got home, I started getting phone calls to say, you guys can't vote and appoint a public health director when you're convened as the Board of County Commissioners. You must convene as the Board of Health. And that is a state statute.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found that out and I verified it, I started questioning it, and I said, wait, time out. I'm the chair. I'm supposed to be responsible for what happens here. I do not want to get the county in any legal problems with the state. We have to comply with state law. We're a country of law and order. And I said, we have to redo this. And everybody just went nuts. They started calling me a racist because Mijares was from, I think, India. He has an accent. Nice guy. Love him. But immediately they go to racism.
Of course.
Okay? And so we redid it. We redid everything because we're supposed to, state statute says the Board of Health is supposed to select and appoint. That doesn't mean just approve somebody that somebody else selected. That means we're supposed to select them.
Right.
And we did. We opened up the application process. We reviewed all the candidates, and in the end, Mirza is our man. So there was nobody got fired because he was never technically really hired.
Yes.
But we got the right guy. But we did it the right way in compliance with Colorado law.
There you go.
Another accusation was that I create a hostile environment.
Yes.
I've already went over that.
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if I say something you don't like, it's a hostile if you don't like it. There's no hostile environment. There is sometimes disagreement between Commissioner Hanson and I. I think it serves the county well to have commissioners that have different approaches towards things, and it becomes a battle of ideas, and that's good. It doesn't have to be
We
hostile.
should work together to solve the problem.
I've never been rude to Commissioner Hanson. I've been direct. I've made my points. But if you watch the meetings, she is too. She is a strong woman, and she's a hard-working woman, and she prepares herself well. And she's been doing it for 7 years. So we're going to have some serious discussions.
Yes.
She's not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that. But I am not a bad guy for doing that.
No.
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 I'm here to represent the county, and like I said, I got a lot of votes, and they want me to stick to what I promised.
That's right.
And that's what you want to do. And
That's what I want to do.
so this election on the 4th, we'll know whether or not you're recalled. And then you said that if you're recalled, there is a liberal that will be appointed. Is that correct? Or am I incorrect
I didn't
on
say that.
You didn't say that.
I don't know the candidate.
Oh, okay.
I don't know her at all. I've never spoken to her. I've never met her. But she was selected by the recall committee. I'm pretty sure of that. My 18,159 votes will be erased with one vote. She needs only one vote if the recall is successful. Think about that for a second.
Wow.
Wow.
And knowing how much dark money is coming into our county, like I said, I don't know her, but for some reason she's okay with them.
And okay.
That says it all.
To say.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just stunned.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it is stunned. And these are the people that say we need to protect democracy.
And we have the best interests of Montrose in our hearts.
You know, Montrose is at an interesting time right now. We have a lower household income than a lot of places, especially on the front range.
Yes.
But yet our cost of living is really high.
Yes.
And a lot of the progressive people want, you know, free housing, free food, they want affordable housing, they want health care, they want child care. Our residents don't have the money for that. I've been in business all my life. My focus is trying to bring jobs into high-paying jobs. We have enough waitresses, waiters, people who work on change tires and all this sort of thing. We need to bring some industry in here that's clean, but the incomes are substantial. Basically, we need to import money into Montrose rather than just exchange dollars between our residents. Because every time we exchange a dollar, the tax man gets a little piece. We become a little less wealthy when we exchange dollars. So if we can bring businesses into Colorado, whether it's biotech or high tech or defense contracting, people that make $150,000, $200,000 a year, that will raise the whole standard of living. There'll be more people that can go out. There'll be more people that shop. There'll be more people that go out and enjoy things. And that's really what we need to do. We need to focus on bringing some
Exactly.
high-paying jobs
Exactly.
into Montrose.
Yeah, Western Colorado is suffering terribly because of that. We just don't have that here at all.
And we should. I
We
mean,
should.
think about it. We have Telluride and Crested Butte both within an hour, hour and a half.
Exactly.
Some of the wealthiest people in the nation, some in the world, they live here. They make this their playground. They all have companies. They all have resources. If they could locate their company, say if you had a company,
Or at least a branch of it.
something, right? Because then they can come here, do some business, and then an hour and a half go up to their Shangri-La up,
Yeah.
up in the mountains.
Yes.
And it would be a good write-off for them.
Yes.
It's a good tax benefit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why wealthy individuals would want to locate a branch of their company or part of their company in Montrose, Colorado. We just have to make it available to them. We need to get that oil and gas going. We need to do some development
Absolutely.
that way. It's going to save our deficit. It's going to provide great paying jobs, and it's going to, just create a growth that we really need. And it's been stolen from us by the progressive agenda.
I think it's rather interesting to think that after you got in, everything just kind of comes to a stop. You can't do anything until you get this behind you.
I think it was a tactic to slow things down. It certainly has consumed a lot of my free time.
Yes, exactly.
And after November 4th, if we come out on top
If
here,
you're successful,
then
yes.
we'll be able to march forward. And one of the things that I want to do is, you might have heard about the Freedom Rally. I've reserved the park for June 20th, and I want to bring people together. I want all these people in the state legislature that's passed this goofy stuff that might be up for election. I want them to come to Montrose County. I want people from all over Colorado to come to Montrose County. And I want them to get on stage and tell us why they want us to vote for them. What are they doing for Montrose,
For
Colorado,
Montrose.
and the Western Slope?
Yeah.
I think those are serious questions that need to be addressed. I think that we deserve the attention and we deserve answers on the Western Slope. And that's what I'm hoping to do. Now, whether I'm successful at that, I don't know. But we're going to give it a good try. We got a great venue, and we're going to try to get politicians, and we want to get entertainers. I want it to be free. I want it to be family. I want red, white, and blue everywhere. I want Uncle Sam on stilts. I want balloons. I want people with beach balls. And I want it to be just a great family day, but I want it to be like we're proud to be Coloradans.
Great.
Excellent.
Well, that sounds like a good stopping place. You've been watching Mesa County Compass. This is the facts as we know them, the truth as we see it. You decide. Thank you,
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you,
Appreciate
ladies.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.